Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining me today. My name's Elaine Tibbetts, and I'm the owner of Tipsy Communications. Today, we're going to explore how understanding your target audience can transform your marketing from messages that can get ignored to campaigns that can truly connect and drive action from your audience. So hopefully by the end of the session, you'll have some practical tools to define your audience and create a detailed buyer persona or avatar, and use these insights to create marketing that really resonates with your audience. So before we crack on, just a little bit about me, because I appreciate you might not know anything about me. So I've been marketing now for well over 25 years. I've worked for a variety of companies over the years, and what I now do is bring all that learning and experience and apply it to smaller micro businesses. So I am Chartered Institute of Marketing qualified, and yeah, I think it's time to crack on. So what we'll cover today is we'll start with a quick introduction into what a target audience is and why it matters. We'll also look at strategies for identifying your audience, and then how we turn that insight into detailed buyer personas. After that, we'll look at audience insights, and there'll be some real world examples of the good, the bad, and a little bit, maybe a bit of the like, maybe what not to do. So yeah, we're going to try and do all of that in 30 minutes. Now, what I will do is stop the recording before the Q&A. So that any Q&A that is where people are asking questions that might be personal to their business, it's done outside of the recording. So a definition of a target audience. What is a target audience? It's simply put, it's a specific group of people most likely to engage with your product, service, or content. Why does it matter? It matters because if you try and reach people and you don't know who they are, you're going to be putting a message out that's not going to mean anything to anybody. So marketing by knowing your audience means you can be much more strategic in what you do and how you do it. And knowing who your audience is the first step in creating messages that hit the mark. So, importance of understanding your audience. It's absolutely critical and will impact your marketing in three ways, not days. First, relevance and personalization. When you tailor your messages to the needs and interests of your audience, they're more likely to pay attention, engage, and respond. Secondly, you can build trust and credibility. When your audience feels like you understand them, they trust your brand, you create that hearts and minds connection with them. Trust then leads to loyalty and position your brand as an authority in the space. Thirdly, it drives a meaningful action. So understanding your audience's motivations and pain points allows you to create messages that encourage action. And whether that's making a purchase, signing up for a newsletter, or engaging on social media, essentially insight into your audience ensures that your marketing doesn't just get seen, it gets results. So what strategies should you put in place for identifying your audience? So there's several practical strategies we can do for this. The first one is start with some market research. Look at the industry, your competitors, and trends. What are they doing? What is it that could work for your business? Where are they? So analysing demographics, behaviours, and preferences. So look at data from your website, social media, or past campaigns to understand what was happening, what the behaviours were, and what the preferences were of your audience. So is there a channel that they're on more than the other? Is there something that that can drive their engagement better? Do they engage with one form of content over another? And then use customer feedback. Look to ask your customers, what they like, what they don't like, where they are. Use surveys, reviews, interviews to gain these qualitative insights. You could even like put polls out on social media to do that. And it's important to combine these methods because quantitative data gives you the what, while as qualitative insights tells you the why. And it's always important to remember that audience insight isn't a one-time thing. It's an ongoing process. So avatars or personas, they both have it's one and the same thing, essentially. So once you've gathered insights, the next step is in creating buyer personas or avatars. These are semi-fictional representations of your ideal customers, which are based on real data and research. And it's really allows you to understand your customer. You create a person who reflects your customer. You can even give them a name. You may have more than one persona or avatar, depending on your business. And I would say most businesses would have at least two, maybe three, that they can actively target through their marketing. So the components of a persona or avatar, each persona should include demographics, such as name, age, occupation. It should include goals. What are their goals? What are their challenges, values, and buying behaviours? How do they buy or purchase from you? For example, you might have a marketing Mary who is a mid-30s marketing manager who values efficiency, seeks practical solutions, and prefers email communication. But why personas? Well, they help you visualize your audience as real people, which makes your messaging far more focused, relevant, and persuasive. So this is an example of an avatar. It's a person called Lou, 45, business owner, lives in Cornwall. And there's, as you can see on the screen, there's a description of Lou. There are what her goals are, what her interests are. This is really a business to consumer persona. We do have business to business ones as well. You can see what her motivations are, what her personality is like. So her personality, almost like her values, what is important to her, what she becomes frustrated by, and where she really wants to put in some focus around her business. So moving on to how do we then leverage audience insights to use these and put these insights really into work. So understanding your audience affects all aspects of marketing in terms of the tone of voice of your messages, the content you create, the channels you use, and even the offers you make. For instance, if your research shows your audience prefers short, actionable emails, sending long generic newsletters just won't work. It will turn them off. But if you align content with your customers' preferences, engagement improves, and so does the likelihood of meaningful action. Audience insight isn't just a nice to have, it's the difference between campaigns that perform and campaigns that flop. And no one wants a campaign that's really going to flop. I mean, you might get a bit of a negative result sometimes, but you really don't want one that flops. When we think about effective messaging, we really think about how you need to talk to your audience. What's the tone you use? Is it really formal? Is it more conversational, more informative, more chatty, friendly without being too over-friendly, professional? And as we start to create messaging, we think about the values of your business and how you transpose those through your messages. So are you clear about are you clear about how you need to talk to your audience? And are you clear what your key messages are and your reasons to believe? Do they link back to your brand values? And do they have a clear focus? Good messaging should really create a story and a vision that your potential customers want to engage with. And then how do you get your brand in front of them? What channels are you using at the moment? What is working? What isn't working? What's working and driving your business forward? Are you on the right channels? For example, if you're targeting younger people, Facebook is not the place to be. You need to be on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. And depending on the age group, maybe Snapchat. Social media platforms currently dominate the top 5 most popular news stories among 16 to 24-year-olds. Instagram is the most used single news source at 44%, which is followed by Facebook at 33%, X at 31%, although that number has possibly come down now, and TikTok at 29%, which I would imagine will have increased. But coming in joint second, BBC One at 33% is the only traditional media source to feature in the top 5. And then finally, make sure you're measuring what you are doing and optimize what is working and what isn't working. So I've just popped in, even though looks like my business, it is similar to my business's business messaging framework, but it will give you an idea of what it looks like when you create a messaging framework, so you can tell how it builds up from your proof points. So your proof points are really in the 3 pillars of trust. And that's really the reason somebody should come and believe in and want to work with your business. And then you evolve that into sentences and paragraphs to build up into the one just under the roof, which is really your elevator pitch. And the roof part is your strap line. And then right at the bottom, almost in your foundations, you have your call to action and where you want people to go and find you. So moving on to some real world examples now. And I picked 3, and I picked them for varying reasons. One of the most iconic marketing campaign examples is Nike's Just Do It campaign. Nike first launched a campaign back in 1988. They are still using that campaign to date. But when they first launched it back in 1988, they featured both professional and amateur athletes sharing their accomplishments and inspiring viewers to do the same. One of the first television advertisements for the campaign featured an 80-year-old marathon runner called Stack. He was a dedicated athlete, and he ran 17 miles every morning. I'm just going to play it so you can see it, and then I'll talk a bit more about it after.
I run 17 miles every morning. People ask me how I keep my teeth from chattering in the wintertime. I leave them in my locker.
So after Nike and ran that campaign and it went live, they had thousands of people submitting personal stories about times when they decided to take the leap and just do it, from quitting stagnant jobs to losing over 100 pounds. The line has become Nike's emblematic tagline and continues to represent the brand some nearly 30, 40 years later. But what made it successful? So Nike really identified an emotional connection with its audience and connected meaningful stories to its core values like motivation, inspiration, and healthy living. Nike's decision to integrate the company's value proposition with an emotionally driven message made for a wildly successful marketing campaign. So the key takeaway from this one is to outline your value propositions and connect with your audience emotionally so they feel aligned with your brand. Next, we move on to Dove, a more recent-ish campaign, still 20 years old, can you believe? But people want to hear stories that matter. And Dove's Real Beauty campaign delivered a poignant and authentic message that beauty industry desperately needs. The Dove campaign for Real Beauty was launched in 2004 by Unilever, aiming to build the self-confidence of women and children. And the initial campaign featured research and reported that only 2% of women considered themselves beautiful. The next phase of the campaign featured a series of billboards starring real women in place of models. The campaign was well received and expanded into other forms of media, promoting ageing, diverse body types and transparency around wigs, blemishes, and so-called imperfections. The mission of the ads was to shine a spotlight on how harmful the beauty industry could be to young women and redefine beauty.
Great quiet, please. Cameras rolling. And we're recording sound. Slated. Sounds great.
So, what made this campaign so successful? The Dove campaign for Real Beauty was celebrated because it used marketing to positively impact the cultural landscape, industry, and lives of consumers. The campaign continues to run today to dismantle the hashtag beauty bias and help make beauty a source of confidence, not anxiety. This campaign, coupled with change initiatives like the Dove Self-Esteem Project, which helps children redefine their beauty. Again, a thing to think about as a key takeaway is to select a real issue that aligns with your organisation's values and use marketing to impact your community positively. My third example is one that is not necessarily as positive. And I've chosen it for a different reason, to show you the impact that not having a thinking about company brand values and your audience can have. So Budweiser, don't know how many know this, but was America's top selling beer brand and had a strong audience connected with social events in entertainment and celebrations until March 2023, when they sent a six-pack of beer to an influencer. Now, this was Bud Light, not Bud Light as a brand. So in early April, Bud Light sent an influencer named Dylan Mulvaney a handful of beers. Dylan, in turn, posted a video of herself dressed like Holly Golightly from Breakfast at Tiffany's, using said beers to celebrate both March Madness and her first year of womanhood. One of the cans featured her image, and that was part of the campaign. And it was part of a paid sponsorship deal and promotion for some sort of sweepstakes challenge where people can win $15,000 from Bud Light by sending in videos of themselves carrying a lot of beers. This made some people very mad, and not because Holly Golightly wasn't a real beer gal. Her preference was the White Angel, a more boozy mix of vodka and gin. Instead, they're upset because Dylan is transgender. I'm going to play a bit of the news article so you can understand what was happening at the time, and then I'll talk a bit more about it.
Bud Light is trying to regain its spot as America's top-selling beer after sales dropped 23% last month compared to the same period last year. Analysts blame the plunge on a Bud Light ad posted on social media by a transgender TikTok star.
This month, I celebrated my day 365 of womanhood, and Bud Light sent me possibly the best gift ever, a can with my face on it. Check out my Instagram story to see how you can enjoy March Madness with Bud Light and maybe win some money, too.
So many conservatives boycotted Bud Light after the ad went public, and when the parent company tried to distance itself from it, it caused backlash with the LGBTQ plus community. Wall Street Journal reporter Jennifer Maloney joins us now to talk about this. So we should clarify, Jennifer, for people to understand. And Dylan makes it clear in her TikTok video there that Bud Light sent her a can. She was celebrating a milestone, and Bud Light sent her a can, which she then herself posted on her Instagram. I think the language by some right-wing news sites and folks and conservative people on social media has been that this was a campaign by Bud Light. It was not a campaign in the sense that they spend millions of dollars, they put together an ad budget, and this is what they're doing, right?
Right. It was not a campaign. And this can was one single can sent to Dylan Mulvaney as a gift. It was not commercially available on store shelves.
So let's talk about what it seems like it's turning out to be pretty significant backlash for the company. There have been other companies who, you know, with June being Pride Month, have done all sorts of things.
Which is different again.
And there's been backlash. Right. But Bud Light in particular seems to be suffering kind of the most severe backlash.
That's correct. It has been really surprising to see the amount of impact this has had on Anheuser-Busch. Usually boycotts blow over, and this one didn't.
Mm-hmm.
So what are some of Bud Light's plans to win consumers back? What are they trying to do?
I run 17 miles every morning.
I guess the question then becomes, and this is why I was trying to seek the...
So, sorry about the tech issue there. Not sure what happened. So Budweiser is planning to shift its marketing campaigns more towards sports and music following this. And it's trying to distance itself. The goal of the strategy is to reconnect Bud Light with its main audience, who've always associated brand with its social events, entertainment, and celebrations. Bud Light is also now trying to regain its spot as America's top-selling beer after sales dropped 23%, and I think they cited the numbers in the article. Analysts have blamed the plunge on the backlash against the social media post. However, there are some more contributing factors that may have seen this happen. So, before this happened, Budweiser was the main sponsor of the World Cup in Qatar in 2022. This impacted them because 2 days before the opening of the World Cup, organisers withdrew a long-standing promise that fans would be able to buy beer with alcohol in the stadiums, and only in the stadiums, and the authorities in Qatar decided, being a non-drinking country, decided that would not be allowed, so withdrew it, which also, you know, Budweiser had done a lot of brand work around that, and that alongside this would have more than likely have massively impacted the campaigns. I think the lesson to take from Bud Light is really around understanding your values, who your audience is, who your target audience is, but also doing research before you push out a campaign of this magnitude or push out a campaign in this way to make sure you understand what the ramifications are and then own it. Don't try and distance yourself from it when it's come out, hoping it will go away, because it invariably will just blow up, as you can see in what's happened.
Bud Light is trying to regain its spot as America's.
It seems like it's.
And now it seems like I'm playing every single video in the mix of the world again. So in conclusion, to wrap this up today, the key takeaways are to know your audience, who they are, what they need, and what drives their decisions. Build yourself a detailed buyer persona or avatar to guide your messaging. Use audience insights to create relevant, meaningful, trustworthy marketing that will drive clear action for your customer. Remember that audience insight is an ongoing process. Keep listening, testing, and refining as you go. Well, thank you for attending and listening to me for the last 25 minutes. I hope you found it valuable and that you feel confident taking these insights back to your marketing strategy. On my website, there are a couple of blogs about target audience, so please feel free to visit those at www.tipsycommunications.com. My next webinar is on the 22nd of May, and it is on messaging and how to make your messaging stand out. So thank you once again for today. And I'm going to end today, and I will hopefully see you all soon. Bye.